Mariko Tamaki and Viktor Bogdanovic continue the strange murder mystery Bruce Wayne has found himself tangled up in as Mr. Worth learns of Wayne's involvement in his daughter's death and sets out to get vengeance, even if it means blowing up a police station with Bruce inside. Mariko Tamaki keeps on delivering with her fantastic murder mystery story that yet again involves more Bruce Wayne than it does actually Batman. With Bruce not having his millions to fall back on or even Alfred to cover him, I like that Tamaki is giving us a more vulnerable Bruce Wayne in every sense of the word. He can't just throw his money at his problems anymore, and it's even worse now that a Gotham crime family is getting involved in this since their leader thinks that he killed his daughter. Him having to deal with this himself as a civilian is lots of fun to watch, and I wish it happened a little bit more often than it did. The strange parasite portion of the story also took some interesting turns with a reveal that Hugh Ville is some strange bug monster or person who has one of those bugs that attaches themselves in fishes' mouths and eats away at their tongue and takes the place of the tongue. It's very intriguing, and it's a great build up in that scene where he hunts the guy down in the alley, and I'm pretty excited. It's not just a run-of-the-mill serial killer, and it's a little bit weirder and maybe even alien in origin. Vic Bogdanovic takes over the book for a little bit, and boy does his artwork complement the previous Dan Mora drawing issues really damn well. I love the pages he did with the Hugh bug reveal, painting it with a really great green light to show it all off in disgusting detail, and his depiction of the hulking, vengeance-crazed Mr. Worth at the end of the book, where his face is lit by the fire of the destroyed police station and him going after Bruce in the sewers, was so good, especially when you see just how small Batman is compared to the man. Detective Comics issue 1037 continued Mariko Tamaki's fantastic murder mystery by making Bruce the prime target of the issue and having him go it alone for most of the time, leading to some intense and fun action sequences and reveals. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Detective Comics issue 1037 finds Huntress looking over the dead body of Neil Betterman on a Gotham roof. She contacts Oracle, sending her some photos of the corpse and telling Barbara that she's working with Batman and they need any reports on parasitic infections, wanting it cross-referenced with incidents of violent attacks. Barbara wonders if this has anything to do with Mary Knox, but Huntress thinks it could be even bigger than that. She wonders where Batman is, learning that a few minutes ago he took off, so Barbara says that the cops are looking for Bruce in relation to a murder. At Fort Grey, Bruce meets with Deb Donovan, who asks where he's been since the police are looking for him, thanks to people reporting hearing Lydia talking to him last night. Bruce doesn't know what she's talking about, learning that Lydia is dead. Deb says that that's 2 women from his neighbourhood dead in less than a month. The cops come over to see Bruce, and later at the local GCPD precinct, the detectives ask him about Lydia's death, but Bruce is as shocked to hear about it as they are, asking when she was found. The detectives say that she was found outside her apartment that morning, wondering where Bruce was. Bruce plays it off, knowing that he was in his apartment with a friend, having seen Lydia the day before when the cops came to his home after a misunderstanding where Lydia thought she saw Sarah, but Sarah is dead. The cops want the name of Bruce's alibi, but Bruce can't remember, knowing the name is in his phone somewhere and he'll call her. At the city hall, Chris finishes watching the footage of Bruce's interrogation as Mr. Worth bursts in, knowing someone saw Wayne murder his daughter, something Nakano should have told him. Chris says that he needs to act accordingly in the mayor's office, and Bruce Wayne is being interviewed by Gotham detectives, and if Worth interferes, he could impact the case. Worth says he's going to hold Nakano responsible for this, but the man says his office will inform him of the investigation's progress as is appropriate. Barbara meanwhile finds a bunch of cases of ocular discharges as a result of a parasite. She knows it's rather alarming, and she's found 10 cases so far that look exactly the same, and while she can't find any direct relation between them all and Mary Knox's murder, they started showing up the same time as a huge uptick in violent attacks in Gotham. Hugh meanwhile steps outside his office and into the city for some fresh air, spying someone talking on a phone in an alley. Hugh approaches the man, who tells him to mind his own business, and checking to make sure no one is around, Hugh says this is his business as his mouth splices open to reveal a huge green bug that jumps out and attacks the man. Huntress meanwhile learns that Bruce has been arrested since he's a suspect in Sarah Worth's murder, murder case, and it was flagged as special interest by the mayor's office. Huntress learns that he's at Fort Gray Station, heading there as Bruce asks to talk with his lawyer, but the officer on watch tells him that that's on hold, taking his leave. Mr. Worth meanwhile grabs a rocket launcher from his stores, heading to the precinct Bruce is in as Bruce calls for someone, finding the entire building is deserted. He knows someone is watching through the CCTV cameras in his cell, and he knows if he breaks out during the murder investigation, it wouldn't look good. Mr. Worth gets out of his car as Bruce hacks into the camera with his watch, finding Mr. Worth is outside with an arsenal. He fires a rocket at the building and it explodes the entire precinct as Huntress blocks away witnesses the explosion. Mr. Worth finally thinks he's gotten justice as Bruce crawls from the wreckage, confronting Worth, who comes for the man, calling him scum. Worth shoots at Bruce, who runs into the smoke and fire as Huntress arrives, telling Oracle the entire station has been totaled, as Barbara says she found a text message sent to all the officers at the station telling them to clear out. Huntress asks if she's got a visual on Bruce, but Oracle doesn't, wondering if he went underground. Bruce did just that, heading into the sewers and activating one of his nearby micro caves. Mr. Worth follows him down, screaming that the rat scum won't get far by scurrying into his hole and he'll blow up the entire city just to kill Bruce. Hugh meanwhile returns to the mayor's office to find it in chaos as Chris tells him that there was a shooter who blew up the local police station. Hugh says he was just out getting dinner as Huntress is contacted by Batman, who tells her to secure Lady Clayface in the micro cave under Fort Gray as Batman confronts Mr. Worth, uppercutting the huge man in the face.